How to sell your home for top dollar in 2022. Atlanta real estate starts now. Understanding the current markets is paramount in order for you to achieve that goal. Here in Atlanta, we are starting to see a cooling, much like many markets across the United States. However, a cooling does not equivalent an instant crash. So there will be an interim period of time between when either the market goes south or the market stays neutral. Right now, the market is trending down from the peak of the market, but for all practical purposes, we're not at the end of the road no time soon. So what does this mean for sellers in 2022 in the Atlanta real estate market? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. All right, first things first, I'm gonna give you 5 steps as to how you can ensure that you are getting top dollar for your home in 2022 as a seller in the Atlanta real estate market. First tip, hire the right agent. Yes, you've heard that many times, many different videos. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my take as to what does that mean? What is, or what are some of the traits of the right realtor? All right, first things first, that real estate agent or realtor should be a local expert. They should have a track record in that market. You should be able to see that they are active in that market and that they are familiar with the location geographically that your property is in, so that way they can really speak to the attributes externally outside of your home to help with future buyers that may have interest in your home. The second characteristics of the right agent will be an agent that has an arsenal of buyers, an agent that is not one-dimensional. I think one of the most disadvantaging aspects of the real estate industry just as a whole is that most agents feel that they have to pick a side. They have to be either a buying agent or a listing agent. And I'm here to tell you that the agent you should hire to sell your home should be a balanced agent. They should have as many buyers as they have sellers, because the whole purpose of you picking them to sell your home is for them to find you a willing, able, and ready buyer. So if that agent is only working with sellers and have no arsenal of buyers, then essentially what they're gonna do is put your home on the MLS and hope that another agent with buyers are able to sell it. You also need to understand that their marketing plan is aggressive enough to cast the net. In real estate and in many things, but we're talking about real estate today, you have to have an agent that understands that it is important. You get one shot to cast the net. You get one shot to soak up all of the market share in order for your property to sell for the price that you want it to sell in the amount of time that you want it sold. So if that agent does not have an aggressive marketing strategy, then likely you're going to be unsuccessful in meeting one or two of those metrics. So simply put, putting it on the MLS is not good enough, especially in a shifting market where buyers are starting to believe that they have more power, and that is okay. But your listing agent must know how to manipulate, not necessarily manipulate, but how to take advantage of that situation for your benefit. So here are 3 things that I think you should be mindful of when you're talking about marketing with that agent. First things first, you should ask them, are you utilizing professional photography for your listings? Many agents do not. Many agents will bring their cell phone and take pictures of their property and tell you how great their phones are, and they have Android or iPhone. And unfortunately, even with the great technology that iPhones and Androids have in their cameras, if you're not a truly great photographer, you don't know how to get certain angles that will maximize the space or intrigue someone's interest, right? So not only is it the equipment that is important for taking listing photographs, but it's also that brain behind the fact that this person specializes in capturing the beauty, the essence, and the overall layout of the property. You want your property to have all of that in order to soak up that market share, because you get one chance to cast that wide net. Because every single day, new listing agents are casting their net in the sea and hoping to pull out a batch of fishes, right? So the same concept here for us is important, that we cast that net right the first time, because we only get one shot at the first time. The second thing you want to pay attention to when selecting the right agent is, Are they comfortable with video? Because here's the caveat. 80% of home buyers go to video for their home searching. So they'll look at photographs and they'll continue to search for more as it relates to video regarding the home. So is that listing agent comfortable on video? Do you have a portfolio of how they've presented themselves on video, etc.? So that is truly important in a new age of marketing as well as a shifting market. And finally, in the marketing piece, will they be utilizing any type of drone aerial shots? Last year, 2021, the National Association of Realtors published an article talking about the usage of drones and how 89% of the properties that had drone footage in the listing presentation actually sold for 25% more than those without drone shots. So that goes to show you that drone aerials are important. And the reason they are is because sometimes buyers have a very desire on privacy. They want to see how much land is in between the homes. They want to, you can also build value proposition in the quality of the exterior, quality of the roof. There's so many advantages of drone shots that if that agent is not using that, then essentially they're not putting you on par and making sure that your listing stands out amongst the crowded field and the shifting environment that we're gonna see over the next few months. Okay, moving on to tip number 2 as it relates to selling your home for top dollar in 2022. My next tip is gonna be set proper expectations. It's important that you as the seller understand what your expectations are and your agent understands what those expectations are, and that agent can give you a game plan as to how we're gonna move about achieving those expectations. So the long or the short of it is understand what you want, when you want it, and what concessions you're willing to make to get it. Give that information to the listing agent over the course of that listing presentation and be able to feel confident in their abilities to understand what your expectations are and that you feel that they can actually obtain them. One of the tips that I always tell my clients, people just in general, is before you go into a listing appointment with the listing agent, you should make a list of these 3 things. The first one is, how much money do you want to walk away with at minimum to feel comfortable in your sale, right? You want to know what your numbers are and be able to articulate those. Number 2, how fast do you need to achieve that goal, right? Are we dealing with a short-term situation or are we dealing with a long-term situation? So understanding the time frame is important, so that way that agent can either corroborate what your expectations are or tell you upfront that those expectations are not quite objective to reach that time frame. And thirdly, what can I compromise on? As the seller of the property, you're making so many different decisions. You need to know what your compromises are going to be before you get into the situation, right? Before you even get into the transaction, you want to know where your spots of compromise will be and be able to uphold them. Okay, it will make your process of setting expectations and reaching those expectations all the better. Okay, last tip I'm gonna give you regarding this topic of setting proper expectations. When you're in the listing appointment, make sure you're taking notes. You're gonna already have your 3 answers to those questions and see how well the listing agent will naturally answer those questions. And towards the end of that listing presentation, if they have not answered those questions, then go ahead and ask those questions directly to that listing agent and be able to actually hear what their answers are, and weigh those answers against any future appointments that you may have in regards to finding the right agent. So that's going to be important, so that way you can make a decision on which agent is going to be more consistent with your expectations, and so that way you have a more pleasant transaction. Right? Because again, it is a partnership. That listing agent cannot be successful without you, and likely you're not going to be successful without them. So make sure everybody's on the same page before you get off the ground. All right, tip number 3 on making sure you sell for top dollar. This is simple, and it's going to be Curbside Appeal. Again, this is a list of selling for top dollar. This is not a list for just selling your home. This is for top dollar. So Curbside Appeal is truly a traditional cliche tip, but it truly makes a difference. First impression is everything. And perception sometimes is the reality. What I will tell you is this: many realtors will tell their buying clients to actually go and ride the home before they actually schedule a private tour. And the reason many realtors actually give this advice to buyers is because they want to make sure that the buyer can go out to the neighborhood on their free time and really get to know the neighborhood a little bit closer. So what does that mean? If your curbside appeal to your property that you're trying to sell for top dollar is not to snuff, then likely that buyer is probably going to be turned off and may not even want to actually schedule a private tour. So first impressions, they really truly go a long way in making sure that everybody is excited about the purchase of the property, and in turn make sure that you reach your goal of selling it for top dollar. So let me give you a few things that you may want to think about as it relates to how you can clean up your curbside appeal. The first things first, keep your landscaping tidy. When your property is listed, if you have never maintained your grass before, this is the optimal opportunity for you to do it consistently. Maybe even reach out to a landscaping company to put it on a set schedule so that way it does not go unchecked, right? So keep your landscaping tidy, maybe even freshen it up a little bit, right? Add some fresh mulch, add some, maybe a few colorful flowers up front if you have a flower bed. Add, sprinkle a few of those in there to kind of bring it up a little bit, if you will. Tip number 2 is going to be pressure wash the exterior of your home if you have not done so, before listing the property. Make sure it's free of debris, free of algae, free of just wear, if you will, right? We want this property to present itself in the best light possible, so you want to make sure it's cleaned up pretty well. And finally, the next tip on making sure your curbside appeal is good is mailbox and mailbox post. If your mailbox is due to be freshened up, do it, right? Mailbox post dingy, pressure wash it. If that's not enough, go ahead and put a new fresh coat of paint on that mailbox post. It truly will go a long way in reaching and making sure that you're getting top dollar. All right, tip number 4 on reaching that goal of top dollar is going to be declutter and depersonalize. You hear it all the time, but it's truly true. You want to declutter your home for certain. When that prospective buyer walks through the property, you want them to have full access to the complete, unique character, charm about that property. You do not want boxes or closed off areas, and that property will not show the same. That buyer will not have the same impression. So make sure that it is free and clear, floor plan is nice and simple to walk, and that you pretty much put up front all of the charm that your home has to offer, okay? And then talking about depersonalizing, this is one of those things that is so, I guess, topsy-turvy. Many people will say, well, if you want to buy the house, you'll buy it regardless of my own personal taste. Well, that is true to a point, depending on the person. It's all relative. When you're looking to sell your home for top dollar, it needs to be neutral, because your goal, you're not thinking small-minded, you're thinking big-minded, right? And when you think about the big picture, you want to be neutral because you don't know who's going to come into that property. You don't know what their turn-ons are or what their turn-offs aren't. So you want to make sure that you keep it as neutral as possible. Take away any of your personal memorabilia, certain nuances or things that you support, especially controversial things. I would definitely recommend you take them down and put them in a safe place. Also, personal pictures, I would definitely say take them down as well, just for privacy purposes as well too. So, and obviously all your personal property, you want to put it in a safe space while the property is being shown. So after the property is won under contract, you can, if it's personal pictures that you want to have out, then you can put those back on your nightstand, back on your mantle, whatever. But while you're showing that property for your first week, you want to make it as neutral as possible, because that is when you're going to get the most amount of attention and traction in your property to get it sold for top dollar. And the final tip on our video today, and if you've gotten this far, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and become a part of the family. This YouTube channel is dedicated to helping my clients and prospective clients achieve their real estate goals, whether relocating to Atlanta, selling their home in Atlanta, moving around, stepping up. all of that, anything real estate related to the city of Atlanta and the metropolitan area. I want this channel to be a resource to you, and so that's why I do it every single day. 3 videos a week typically is what happens here on the channel, so you're gonna learn so much. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become a part of my YouTube family. So let's go ahead and jump into our 5th and final tip on selling your home for top dollar in 2022 here in the Atlanta real estate market. So the last one is gonna be do a pre-inspection. Pre-inspections are definitely important for the seller to do because it gives you an opportunity to get in front of some of those things that may come up on the buyer's inspection. The whole goal here is to allow you to control the narrative, right? You want to know what's wrong, how much is it going to cost to fix, and if it's within reason, you can fix it yourself. But at least you will not be blindsided. You will also be able to candidly state in your seller's disclosure exactly some nuances that maybe you want to disclose, so that way that those buyers can know exactly what your limits are. That is up to you. But at the minimum, you want to do a pre-inspection to determine what some of those issues are, so that way you can be in front of it. I cannot stress enough the fact that to buyers, the simplest repair will become the largest milestone. And sometimes, especially in a shifting market like this, where buyers start to get very, very bullish in their approach, you will start to see a lot more crazy things happen when it comes to the negotiations, etc., etc. So it's gonna be important for you to make sure you do that pre-inspection, so that way you know what you're walking into, which hopefully will save an amendment down the road. So I hope you've enjoyed these top 5 tips as to how you can get your home sold for top dollar in 2022 in the Atlanta real estate market. Obviously, I would love to speak with you and do a consultation with you in your home to talk about my listing strategy and my approach of helping you get your property sold for top dollar here in the Atlanta metropolitan area. Feel free to contact me. All of my contact information is down in the description below. You can also go ahead and book a consultation with me as well outside of your home, just to talk a little bit about more of your goals and wants and needs, and give me a little prelude. And then when we can actually schedule the listing appointment at your home, I can see it and we can talk more confidently about numbers and more about my listing strategy. I appreciate you making it this far, so I'll see you on the next video. Peace.